Hi, this is Steve Stokely for Advanced Poker Training. The Brain button is the newest feature on Advanced Poker Training. As you already know, when you press the Advice button in the game, your chosen advisor tells you what action they would take. But sometimes they don't tell you why they made that decision. The Brain button changes this by letting you take a look inside your advisor's head so you can see what factors they were considering. Here's a question for you. Should you play small pocket pairs in No Limit Hold'em? Well, the answer, of course, is it depends, right? What's your position at the table? Who else is in the pot? Has anybody raised? How loose are your opponents? Do they go too far when they're beat? What's your stack size? So your virtual advisor takes all these factors and more into account. Let's start out pre-flop and look at a sample hand. We've got pocket fives from the button. We click the Advice button, and our advisor tells us to call, but doesn't give us a lot of details. So let's click the Brain button to find out more. The first page we get is the Recommended Strategy page. This tremendously useful page lets us see what our advisor would recommend for other similar hands. Since we're holding a pocket pair, we can see his advice for all the other pocket pairs as well. So as you can see in the legend here, red means fold, yellow means call, and green means raise. So in this given situation, our advisor would have raised with pocket nines or better, and would have called with all the other pocket pairs. The next page shows some additional factors your advisor was considering. Let's take them one by one. Your position at the table, of course, affects what range of hands you can play. Generally, you can play a wider range of hands from the later positions. This would be a good time for me to point out that you can visually see this in your reports. Go back to your Member Control panel and click on My Reports. Then go to the Performance, Hands subtab. Here you can see what hands other APT members are playing for a profit from various positions. The color codes are shown here. Anyway, going back to the Brain button, Action Status shows you a summary of your opponent's actions up to this point, which affects not only what hands you can play, but how you play them. For example, if you're in late position and no one has yet entered the pot, you might raise with a wider range of hands to steal the blinds. Last to act tells you if a call by you will close the betting round. This is important because if your call doesn't close the action, someone might raise or re-raise behind you, and that has to be factored into your decision. Next, we see the pot size given in both dollars and big blinds. And over here we see your stack size also given in dollars and big blinds, and how big your stack is relative to the pot size. That last number is the most important because if you're going to play a speculative hand like pocket fives, you want to make sure you have enough chips after the flop to get paid off when you hit something. Finally, on this page, you can see the pot odds. This is simply how much money is in the pot compared to how much it will cost you to call. The math is easy. Suppose there was $30 in the pot and it would cost you $10 to call. Then the pot odds would be 3 to 1. The pot is $30. It costs you $10. So 30 to 10, which is the same as 3 to 1. This third page shows us a visual summary of what we know about our opponents. In this case, we can see that our opponents are generally loose and aggressive and are intermediate quality players. And this last box is grayed out because there hasn't been a raise yet. If there had been a raise, you'd see the personality type of the raiser here. This is shown separately because the most important opponent for you to have to pay attention to after the flop is going to be the pre-flop raiser, because they will often play aggressively after the flop. Now, your advisor won't tell you exactly which factors he took into account and how heavily he weighed each factor. That part is left for you to consider. On this particular hand, I would suspect that our advisor probably liked our position at the table, liked the favorable pot odds since there were already 2 callers, and the fact that many of our opponents are loose and aggressive, the combination of which should translate into some serious profit if we flop a set. Thanks for watching this video, and be sure to check out the other videos on using the brain button after the flop.